The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Hi, here I am. It's Nikki Glaser. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. I don't know about for you guys, but for me, that bass was bumping on that intro song today. Brian, did you get a load of that?
Yeah, I asked Anya to turn up the bass, and she said fine.
I'm glad she gave us a new cut of that song that we've had for... How long have we been doing this podcast? 2020 to 2021? 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been that long. Brian, first off, I haven't even talked to you yet, even before we started the podcast.
No.
Thank you so much for the Taylor Swift magazine that you sent me. That was so nice. I know I sent you a text about it, but like, people don't understand, like, these little Taylor Swift magazines are popping up everywhere. You'll see them in Hudson News. You'll see them at the grocery store. There's like new versions every month. I want them all. And guess what? I'm not buying them for myself because it's too indulgent. And I just think that magazines are a waste of money. So I want you, if people need to get me a gift that's relatively inexpensive.
Wait, so there's a new one every month?
Because there's like, well, they just like every publishing company that does, magazine print is like, okay, let's do a Taylor Swift edition. Yeah. You just buy a bunch of Getty images, you pay someone to write some stories about her life and her trajectory, and and you sell it as like a special edition, and it can be on the shelves for months. I mean, the one you bought me, it doesn't even have Tortured Poets in it. Like, her life is updated, and you bought it in February. Yeah. Like, her life is already different, so they can keep putting out new ones every month because this is the updated one.
I meant to give it to you,
but it's
before
really
the
good.
Super Bowl as something to read on the plane. But it worked out that I just had it in my car for months.
No, I needed it. It arrived in my life at the right time.
Excellent.
I was so excited to flip through it and just go like, oh, she's so cute there. Chris, look at this one where she's so cute. My goal lately has been proving to Chris that she is super duper sexy, because he's just like, he like sees her almost like a sister. Yeah. He's just like, I just don't sexualize her. And I'm like, you need to, because she's sexy. And so I keep showing him videos. I'm like, look at this dance. I'm like, if I did that, you would be absolutely seduced. Don't act like that is not a sexy move. I couldn't even do that. That's so sexy. And he's starting to buy in. I'm getting him to buy in on things. What I got him to buy in on last night that he finally gave into, and I've been pushing for years, was Always Sunny, because I knew he'd love it. Who doesn't love Always Sunny? He's resisted it because I think it was, I don't know, I can't even surmise. I could surmise, but I shan't, about why he wasn't wanting to watch it. But I was like, let's start from the beginning. I've never seen the first season. Yep. I jumped in at just willy-nilly episodes, because it doesn't follow really a narrative.
No. I mean, a loose narrative, but you can still figure it out.
It's like South Park.
It's like almost all. I think in that show, it's Danny DeVito is probably too sexy and distracting. You can't really watch it.
He can be. Oh my God, we watched the ones that I showed him. We watched. Are you familiar with the show?
Yes,
to a degree.
Have
you watched it a lot?
I wouldn't say I've watched it a lot, but I mean, there's quite a lot of seasons.
You've watched enough. Okay, yeah. There's like 27 seasons.
I think it's the longest running live action comedy sitcom.
Besides
But Simpsons is animated.
Yeah, because Simpsons takes animated. Yeah.
We've talked about this before.
Well, that's so impressive. Yeah. And they are, I think, it's one of the best shows ever. It's like up there with Veep for me in terms of comedy. And I watch it again. It's so nostalgic. And Seinfeld, too, I've been going back to. I'm just like obsessed with these things that made me laugh so hard. But last night I showed him, we watched the first 3 episodes just to get like a gist of the show, which really found its stride immediately. Like, it was what it was almost right out of the gate. It got more deranged. Yeah. And just taking chances, but the first episode, their pilot episode, is the gang gets racist.
The pilot episode of Always Sunny is one of the best written pilots of any. Yes,
really?
Absolutely. And what's really amazing about it...
I agree, but I didn't know it was heralded as that already.
At least I herald it. I think a lot of people do, at least in the comedy space. You wouldn't compare it to...
Frasier is the one I heard.
Frasier, though, has the classic sitcom...
Cheers.
Cheers has the classic sitcom structure, which is becoming kind of passé. So if you're basing it off of that, then yeah. But Always Sunny is also quite remarkable because they did it themselves, similar to Shane Gillis's famed Tires, which is blowing up.
I still haven't watched it yet, but I hear that everyone likes it, and I hear that it's simple. It takes place in one place. You can shoot it in like. Chris was saying there's no way it took longer than 4 weeks.
No,
to shoot
probably not. And they funded it themselves, or Shane did, and just like Always Sunny.
It looks great.
Also, 2 shows from Pennsylvania.
Very similar. And also J.Lo's show that I talked about on the show with Rachel when you weren't there yesterday, but. the J.Lo, I watched a J.Lo documentary, which I didn't give the name of. So please, I'm begging you, besties, you have to watch it. It's so good. No matter what you think about J.Lo, whether you don't think about her at all, like, I think it's just, if you have any kind of like dreams inside you and you want to be inspired to just like take a chance on a wild dream, the documentary, which is called The Greatest Love Story Never Told, which is based on Ben Affleck's like letters to her.
Wow.
Over the course of their relationship, that he made a special box for her of all the letters and correspondence they had, emails, letters,
Special box
throughout
for
their
a special
relationship.
box.
And that's what he called it. No, it was really romantic. And then she busts it out when she's at a writer session with all of these music producers, and she's tossing it around. She's like, read the letters. I want you to be inspired. Like, this is what I'm making this album off of. And then Ben finds out and is like, what is she doing? Like, that was like a private thing between us. But what I loved and why he reminds me of Chris so much is like a boundary was broken for him. But then ultimately he's like, it's her art. Like, this is how she makes her art. Like, I kind of just got to suck it up. I don't want to make art from highly personal things, but she feels the need to make this music movie to talk about her growth from being an insecure woman who didn't get enough love as a child, as to a person who found someone who like loves her for her and finally made it back to a guy that's like really accepts her. I guess is what I think she's trying to say. But she has to self-fund the whole thing because financing gets pulled right away. Like, this is the documentary about making that movie, okay? So financing gets pulled, and she has to pay like $30 million. She's like, I'll do it myself. And the happy ending at the end is, well, because you're watching it, you already know, spoiler alert, it gets bought by Amazon, right? Like, but there's no way they paid as much as she put into it.
That seems to be happening over and over again. Our industry are filled with cowards who are unwilling to take.
Okay.
I mean, you can't even take a risk on a J.Lo documentary.
But I like that she did it herself and lost money, because it's like, okay, so I lost money. People still got to see this thing I care about. Or, maybe it wasn't a huge success, but it still like was on a platform. Suck it. Like, I got the word out there. I don't need that $30 million really. I'm J.Lo.
She is. Intimacy.
I have a lot more $1 million laying around. And she's like, I'll just do a campaign for CBD water, and I'll make that in one photo shoot with them.
Everyone's doing that nowadays. Kevin Costner, $38 million spent of his quote-unquote own money on that new Western movie he just released that got a 8-minute standing ovation at the film festival.
What is this? What are these standing ovations
It's
at Cantin,
like
where people are now required to just like outdo each other? This is like the Swifties after Champagne Problems. We all try to beat each other in each city to see who can applaud the longest. And make her go.
I know. Well, that's the awkward part.
And take off her earpiece and go.
I mean,
but I really do think she's amazed.
as
each
annoying
time,
as it is to do the standing ovation, I can't even imagine standing up for 10 minutes and clapping, which is just absurd. But
no, you know what? I think it's so important that like it would like anything, it would get old. But like, to stand and just accept people applauding and wanting to just give you love, and you just have to take it, and you want to sing and you want to move the show along, but you're just people are just screaming so loud because they're just excited at your existence. She gets moved to tears a lot, and I get why she does that. Anyway, continue what you were saying.
Well, I would say it's harder even for the person on stage to stand up there and continually. It's like gifts. I don't like receiving gifts because I have to be like, you don't like receiving gifts because you have to be like, oh my God, thank you so much. And imagine having to do that for applause for 10 straight minutes. It's just it's horrible.
Yeah, I like gifts if I like them. So like, it's not like she doesn't like the applause. So she can not getting a gift that you're just like, oh, this isn't great. This is going to require a performance. Like, as long as I don't have to perform, I'm pretty happy. And that's a moment I don't think she has to perform. If you really let it in, 65,000 to 80,000 people screaming for you over 6 minutes seems then it won't stop every time you try to talk. But at the can thing, it just seems like that would be really boring. 12 minutes is too long. 6 minutes. What did Brendan Fraser got 12 minutes for the whale?
After 5 minutes, I would feel like it was sarcastic. I would be like, these guys are making fun of me. I stood
up 12 minutes into the movie and said, I'm going to go to the bathroom for a really long time so I can miss a lot of this, because I don't.
You did a standing ovation in the bathroom where you were looking, washing your hands, and looking in the mirror.
I watched it on a plane, which is supposed to make things even better. But because I heard all of that, I think the bar was too high.
Seatbelt sign.
Yeah. There was we were in some turbulence, so I would have gotten in trouble had I taken off my seatbelt to stand. So that's why I didn't. But I think this like 6-minute standing ovation, it doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
But he got a standing ovation for 12 minutes for The Whale, which is a movie in which he can't even really stand.
It's kind of rubbing it in his face at that point.
I think it's sarcastic applause, and everyone was making fun of him the whole time.
It's sweet. I mean, it's interesting, but I just don't get when this trend started of can is where people stand for really long amounts of time and applaud.
That's where the phrase canned laughter comes from, because it's made up.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Canned
it feels
applause.
fake. Well, I will say that I've been to award shows and I've been borrowing like really expensive jewelry from my stylists. Like my stylists who style me, they borrow jewelry, and it's like really, they don't buy it. We borrow it and we tag them, and maybe they get paid for renting it. I don't really understand. But I went to the iHeart Music Awards in like 2019, and
year.
I was clapping so hard because I was having a good time. I dented all of this like fine jewelry, and I think I had to pay for some of it but I learned my lesson. That's why Nicole Kidman is in memes like clapping like this. Because you're banging this metal around and it gets all dented up. You're just banging metal into metal. But I was doing it the whole show and having no clue that I was doing it. And my stylist got them back and were like, "What happened to these? Were they thrown into the road? Were you playing dice with them?" It's crazy what happened with them.
Did you see some nurses during COVID?
Because I was applauding. What is that? Wait,
that's
I don't
my
get
reference
that.
to how you had to bang pots and pans together for the.
Oh, yeah,
it was a long
that's good.
shot,
okay.
but I tried it.
No. Yeah. I got there. I just needed you. I wanted you to take me on that
it was a good journey.
And hold my hand.
Let me ask you this: if I know that without all the death, take away all the death, okay? Would you want to do COVID again? As in,
no.
Everything shuts down for a full year,
or
maybe longer.
I'm on a wave right now, dude.
This would be the worst time for you.
It would be horrible. I mean, ask me that 4 months ago, I would have not let you finish the sentence before I said yes. Please God, bring it on. Bring on that tsunami. But then I didn't realize I would be riding that tsunami, and I don't want to. I don't want.
I agree with you. I think I'm in the
anything
same position where I feel like I wouldn't want it to happen now. However, I do believe that the nation and perhaps the world should institute a biannual COVID break where we're forced to pretend like it's COVID for about 2 weeks.
Oh, we like memorialize it. It's like our way of honoring what we went through during COVID is that we take a mini COVID, which is about, let's do a 2 week.
2 weeks. I would like it to be more, but like if I was rich and famous,
2 weeks
not
seems
famous,
like a way to honor it.
2 weeks is a way to honor it. But if I was rich and successful enough where I didn't have to worry about like getting the next job or money or anything like that, every year, without question, I would take 2 full months to go to like Colorado or something and do absolutely nothing for 2 months.
Yeah, that would be my face work break. That would be everyone's. Yes. Usually actresses do it during Christmas when the world the industry shuts down between Thanksgiving and January 5th,
even
6th.
Longer. I feel like
you
sometimes
think?
A
People
couple
still on
more
vacation?
weeks even.
I appreciate that about Hollywood. Thank you so much for doing that because it really feels like it never stops, and it's nice that we all agree that still like takes a little. There's a dull.
I feel like it
there.
slows down a little bit in the summer months in July and August because a lot of the decision makers go on to France or whatever. They go on summer vacations.
Right. Well, I know that there was this one scandal that came out where some celebrity was kind of being outed for nothing illegal, but just being kind of cringe. And there was like a lot of evidence. And it was like a really funny story. And the person chose to do it on like Christmas morning because they knew that publicists wouldn't be available to like fix it and to like make it disappear.
Wow.
And so this thing spread like wildfire because everyone's at home with their families bored on their phones and there's no publicist to fix it in time. And so it just went way worse than it should have. And I thought that's like a really evil plan. If you want to like ruin someone, do it on that holiday really is the only one. Christmas morning, drop it. Because that's where everyone's kind of like not on their phones. They don't even have to be really. You're not on call. So I thought
I think
that
the
was
opposite is true if you're going to break up with somebody. I think I've been asked this question many times, and I've decided that the best time to break up with someone is before the holidays. And people say, well, then you'll ruin the holidays. But
No. You can't go through a holiday with someone you don't want to be with.
Right, exactly. So you avoid that. And then also
That's
the person
mean.
has time to spend with loved ones where they're just able to
Where they are
nurtured.
nurtured. I was broken up with on a Thanksgiving Eve. I was actually outside of LAX about to check I was like letting my dog piss for the last time before we flew 3.5 hours. And I'm walking Luigi and he calls me and it's already been like, just a distance, like not really responding to text as much. Like we just saw each other for the first time after talking on the phone for a really long time. And I could just tell a distance was already brewing, but I didn't think it was like over because it was so on. And he pretty much right there called me and I was on the sidewalk, Terminal 1, Southwest. And I was like finding out he was breaking up with me. And I was just, I was just so mad and disappointed. And and I'll tell you what happened next after this break. So we're back. So yeah, I got the call from this guy and he was really nice about it, but I was fucking pissed because it was just embarrassing. I had never been like really like where I didn't have it's happened to me a couple times where they're just like, you don't have a choice. Like I'm already made my decision. There's nothing you can say or do that's going to make this relationship keep going. Like it's so humiliating, and you're trying,
desperate pleading.
and then all you have to do is get mad. Then you just get mad at them because you're out of you realize you can't get them back.
You can't logically put them in a circle that'll be like, you know what, you're right, I should stay with you. It's never going to happen.
No, you can just tell it in the tone in their voice, and then you are trying not to cry. I was trying to be strong, and I think I handled it well at first, but I was so fucking angry. And then I stewed on the plane, and then I went home, and you're right, it was like, it was nice to have their sympathy, but my parents were kind of like, yeah, how did you not think this was gonna be? Like, you should have seen this coming kind of thing. It kind of made me feel stupid, I guess. Or maybe I was doing that to myself. But you're right. Like, I think it is smart to be around loved ones
especially if you can go to it's a really bad thing to do if someone has no family or something like that. Then you don't break up with someone before Christmas.
That's bad. If they were supposed to spend Christmas with your family because they don't have one,
yikes. But for someone who is...
Give them one last, holiday.
Someone who has a family, you could do it too. But I've been in that situation before where someone's breaking up with me on the phone and I'm like, I go through the embarrassing plead. Like, it's not really pleading. It's almost like trying to convince them in some logical way why this decision they made is incorrect. And it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And
it's so embarrassing.
And then you do switch at one point to just being like, well, fuck you. You get angry.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I remember one time when Chris and I broke up, the first time he broke up with me, and I was just like, he just wasn't budging, and it just seemed insane to me. Like, I'm just like, I didn't see this coming at all, blindsided. And he had all the reason in the world. It's a long story, but I remember what I was staring at. Like, I remember the part of the curtain in my apartment with Anya that I lived in that I was looking at when I was in the dark going, please, please. Just like, remember this, Nikki. This is like the most pathetic moment of your life. And you're doing it in front of someone that you want to take you back. And it's like the worst look possible. Oh man, I've had some really bad looks in front of Chris Convey. Yeah. And he's seen some batshit behavior.
I can't imagine a situation where you're saying please like that it would work out in any situation.
That's the irony of it, is like, I know it won't work out. It's just, I'm out of options. He's gonna hang up the phone and I'm not even, it's like, please stay on the line with me, because when we hang this up, like, please, like, I just wanted him to take pity on me. Like, okay, you're so pathetic. I guess, yes, if this will keep you going for a couple more days or something. It was just so sad. And that's why I remember the curtain that I was looking at, because it was a new low of my life. And then sometimes sometimes as a woman, you try to seduce them, like, to get them back. Like, and you try to be sexy or do something like sexy, and it's so desperate, and it's so like, oh, that one's so bad.
Well, because what you have to realize is that it's not like they were just like, they woke up that morning and was like, oh, let me call Nikki, break up. No, this has been something that they've been going over in their head for probably a few weeks and worked themselves up to say it. And so after all of that, it's very unusual for a desperate please to turn it around. And so the sexual thing doesn't work either, because probably by that point, one of the reasons why you're going to...
They're repulsed by you.
repulsed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And not because of your physically, they just like hate you. And so physically you read as disgusting.
People like to think that men are pigs, and they are, and that all they care about is looks. But there is, for everybody, even the pigs, even the construction workers, there is always a mental aspect to sexual attraction, and that needs to be there for men to really be horned up, especially when you're in a long-term relationship and you've gotten used to the looks part.
Right. Trying to like seduce your husband of 10 years is gotta feel like at that point they've seen so much. Like it's just not doesn't work.
Well,
I think
no,
I
it
could
works.
Still seduce
it works
Chris.
if they want to be seduced, or
right. If
or if secretly they want to be seduced. They don't have to overtly.
Or if they're just like, and usually at that point they're like getting it somewhere else, you know, like they're not even like dying to fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not even what it's about. I guess I think for men sometimes. And but yeah, I mean I still try it.
But that's
sometimes,
where you play the mental game. You see if the.
But only if I'm turned on now. Like, I'll just do it if I'm like, oh, this happens to be the thing I want to do anyway. I wouldn't. The sad part is when you don't even want it and you're just trying.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you
it's
both
like
don't want it,
disgusting.
then you're just, two people sitting in recliners reading the.
You're just a girl laying in a tub, masturbating loud enough for a boyfriend to hear in the next room. And you don't even want to do it. You don't even want to be doing what you're doing. That is a sad moment in a girl's life.
But if you.
Just trying to get someone to turn around because you're so hot they can't help themselves.
If you are goosed up, though, and you want it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other person doesn't, and they haven't wanted it for a while. There is, for every personality, a thing that you can do mentally to put them in a state of whatever it is, anxiety or whatever, that would make them want to fuck you. It might be extreme, it might not be, but there is something. You have to figure out what that is, because everyone's got a thing. That if you did the right sequence of events, they would get horned up for you.
I have given my lover a guaranteed spot if he whispers into a part of my neck that I didn't even know existed until he did that one time, and I was like, "What's happening to me?" Like it literally was
your
like,
vagus nerve.
"What the fuck?" It's like almost as it does things to my brain like that. Your you know, like your clitoris does to your brain. Like I'm not even joking you. It's like the most erogenous zone. It's right on my neck. I can't even find it, but it feels
is it in the back.
It makes me just go, I don't even know, and I don't want to give it away because I think it's like around back here, but no one really ever breathes there. But a couple times Chris just accidentally has because we're just like laying or cuddling or something, and I'm just like, what's happening? Like I'm like a dog that legs
I
start
think that's
shaking.
your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve starts in your brain.
My vagus nerve is here. I used to have a vagus nerve simulator for my depression, and it didn't work. It would just pull my face down like violently. And
Well,
it's
it's in your neck, and it goes straight down to your puss. Yeah.
Really? Oh, well, I don't even know if I feel it on my puss. I feel it like in my brain. Like it's just like I feel horny in my brain. But I guess that has to be related to that. But it's just I've told him like if you ever want to have sex, like that's all you have to do is just whisper. Like literally, we shouldn't even give this code out to strangers because it's that crazy. Like it unlocks something in me.
That's scary.
And so the other night I was like, why don't you, like I've told you, why don't just do it every time? But I think like sometimes you don't even want the easy way in. You like want to earn it a different way.
What do you mean by that?
I guess, but I'm just like I think sometimes men don't like to be told what to do because they want to figure it out themselves.
Oh, to how to seduce you?
Yeah, and I get that. Like sometimes if some guy was just like, I like when you do this, I'd be like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can relate to it in other ways in my life, but I find that sometimes when you're like this exact thing, they try their version of that. And this isn't just Chris, and it's not even Chris, except in maybe this way, but I don't even think in that way. But I just has found that to be true.
It's somewhat emasculating to just follow the instructions because it feels like you didn't.
Yes.
It's not. It could be anybody. Like they just told you how to do it, so you're not in control of the situation, and now you're just some cuck following orders.
But yet, you don't mind following instructions on a YouTube video on how to install a sink. You're not like, you know, putting your own pizzazz on that, right? Isn't that about like just do it the way it's exactly said to be done?
We actually have feelings for the sink, so. But I think
Well said.
I think you can give orders in the heat of the moment, maybe, and it will. Like if you just, it depends on the type of person.
Yeah, but the neck thing for me is like not in the heat of the moment. It's like that's the thing to start it that we need. But no, it's all about communication, and that's the theme of today's
communication.
episode.
You know, it's like that's what J.Lo communicated with Ben Affleck with those letters.
No, everyone's got to watch that documentary. But I do think that, it reminded me a lot of Chris and me, Ben and her, because she has all these like harebrained kind of crazy ideas about like, I just want to like everyone to know everything about me. And he's just like, okay, well, let's just talk about it. And then there's a scene where she's like, this is bad. This is the worst. Like, I'm embarrassing. Like, this is shit. It's shit. And he's like, okay. And it's kind of shit at that point. And he's kind of like being like, okay, well, this is the first time you're doing this. Like, maybe you're learning. And also, you can't say it's shit yet. Like, we're not even done. It's not even close to being done. And she's like, yeah, but so far it's shit. You'll admit it, right? Like, trying to get him to admit it. And he, like, won't. But he also does agree. But he, like, finds a way to calm her to, like, be like, even he's not negating what she's saying because he knows it's true, too. But he's like, gives her a perspective that kind of calms her down. It reminded me of me and Chris of being like, this is just the worst. And sometimes he's like, yeah, this isn't good. Like, what you've done is not great. Because it's stuff this is all stuff J.Lo's doing. And it's wild. I love it so much. I even rewatched. So the documentary is about the music video. Like, she wanted to do like a Purple Rain, like a movie with all of her music videos. Like, not music videos. They keep saying, don't
like
call it a
Yellow
music
Submarine
video.
Or something.
Yeah. Or Beyonce's Lemonade, like something like that. And so, but it's about her breakup, and she works in a heart factory. It's kind of comedy in there too. Fat Joe is her therapist. Cool. Post Malone is in it. Jane Fonda. There's all these cameos. Trevor Noah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Wow.
Anyway, it's. And then Ben Affleck does a funny cameo. It's wild though, because it is someone who she just is putting it all out there, and I'm like, I kind of like it because now I'm a J.Lo fan from the documentary. I'm a legit J.Lo fan. I go back on everything I ever thought or said about her in the past, in private or public. I love J.Lo. I think she's cool. I think she is so talented. I think she is funny, and I think she's hardworking. And yes, there are some stories out there that make me go, what? Like, I've heard some stuff, but she's just doing her and figuring it out. And all in all, she seems like a really nice person. But she did produce the documentary that I learned this from.
Yeah. So this is you just like fell for propaganda.
I'll be heartbroken
basically.
if she's not. But the thing is, people are taking footage from this documentary and putting it on TikTok, and she's having this moment where people are tearing her down because of how out of touch she seemed, which if you watch the whole documentary, you will like not see it that way. I don't think. I made Sarah Lena and Sarah Lena watched it. I forced her. I'm like, please, I need someone else in girls chat to like consume this and give me feedback. And she loved it too and was so inspired, and we both like J.Lo in the same way. So I really do think if you watch the documentary, all the stuff you've seen on TikTok that's made you go, oh my God, why did she say that? You'll kind of go, actually, she's kind of cool and inspiring.
Yeah, this is a good idea. I think more people should do this. Like Ellen should make a documentary about her view of her workplace, and then everyone can watch it. We should get that side. Yeah.
Well, I think that's what she's doing with her comedy special. I mean, J.Lo can't do a comedy special where she like tells the truth into a microphone. And I think that's what Ellen's addressing it on her next special,
I have no idea. She does have a...
No, that's what she said. That was the press release.
So she does have a special coming out.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, but it would be cool. We should see all the other sides. You know, the documentaries are always on what's supposed to be the good side. Like we always see like a documentary that's about SeaWorld and how it's bad. But now SeaWorld should make a documentary telling their side of the story.
But how it's good? I would never watch it.
Well, you watched the J.Lo one.
I have no interest. Well, that's a good point. Well, J.Lo, even if I don't like her, I'm still fascinated by her, and I want to see evidence why I don't like her. I want to fill up my little... But it didn't fill it up. It fucking dismantled it. So that's a good... But I wouldn't want to fill up my hatred of SeaWorld. I actually can't watch it.
What if OJ had... I mean, he's passed on now, but what if OJ came out with his documentary? I guess he had that book, If I Did It.
Okay, here's the thing, though. I'm not on the... J.Lo, I didn't like, but I was like... I don't know. Yeah,
She
maybe
didn't
you're right, but I
murder her
don't think
wife and yeah.
right. I think the crime wasn't
No.
as bad. That I just thought she was kind
Yeah.
of phony.
Well-
Versus stabbing, decapitating his wife, and her potential
Yeah.
lover who was just returning some sunglasses. Oh my god. But I will say that I have some friends that watched like a Scott Peterson documentary, and I thought I was 100% sure that guy killed his wife. Like, and they're like, no, he didn't. I'm like, what?
Wow.
So sometimes I am open to having my mind totally blown
Yeah.
because my friends said that. But yeah, I think besties, you're similar enough to me. You'll walk out of it being inspired by J.Lo. Speaking of I think we were speaking about specials or something. Oh yeah, because Rachel and I were talking about her special yesterday and how she was like what she says, like doing stand-up is like her final word. Like if she were to die, this is like her last. I forget what she used as like her closing arguments, kind of like when you're prosecuting someone. Of like, this is what, and that's how she uses, and I thought that was
that's
pretty interesting. Which it is that it's you do get to do that as a stand-up comedian. You just speak as you. Actors do not get
No.
to do that ever.
No, I don't even.
Musicians don't.
Half of them probably
musicians do,
don't
but they just do it
know
with
how
metaphor.
to speak as them because they are an empty
Yeah.
husk that is a refillable container for
Yeah.
whatever character they're portraying, and they lose who they are and become some sort of soulless creature. But that's just my view of
Yeah.
actors. I don't know if everybody agrees with that.
I don't really know the psyche of actors, and to be honest with you, I'm not really interested in it. I just don't really care. I'm not like, wow, what motivates you to be someone else? I don't care. And as much as people aren't probably interested in being like, what makes you a comedian? I mean, some people do care. I'm sure other people don't give
Yeah.
a fuck about what makes comedians. Who gives a shit? You're a comedian. Just be one. Don't explore why you're different and cool. But did you see my special? 2 million views.
Unbelievable. Well, so now I saw the thing you just
Which
posted.
I didn't know if that was a huge number or
It's
not.
2 million?
But I guess it is. Yeah.
And so you just posted on your Instagram stories today a great piece of information.
Yes. My special
I want to get the wording right.
is streaming, is breaking streaming records. Okay, here. They just posted. A premiere to celebrate. Watch it before you die. Biggest HBO comedy special premiere in over 2 years. Nikki Glaser, Someday You'll Die. HBO just posted.
Deadline said Nikki Glaser Someday You'll Die sets streaming record for HBO. What does that mean? That sounds a lot better than most watched special in 2 years. So which one is it?
Wait, what does the other
You
one say?
posted it. It's
Break streaming record. Well, they were more vague. The record is it's the biggest HBO comedy special premiere in over 2 years. This is how press works. So the headline that Deadline put up looks more impressive than what the actual thing is.
Well, what?
But in over
So
2
what
years,
came out in
why
2 years?
is
What were the other HBOs? Didn't
I
your
don't know.
special also come out 2 years ago on HBO? You broke your own. You
I beat
your
my own. Well, I think I was number one the year my special came out too, but it wasn't like this level where it was like I think I'm going to be number one by a pretty big margin.
It's been pretty
This one, which
amazing
is
seeing
exciting.
not just your special be in the top 10 of the HBO, but the Tom Brady roast being in the top 10 of the Netflix thing, and then Chris's show being also in the top 10, the Kevin Hart Mark Twain Prize. That's pretty incredible. And now on Netflix, it's like Bridgerton, Tires.
Yeah. I just wrote to my publicist in over 2 years. What other special beat mine 3 years ago?
Yeah,
I want
what
answers.
beat
You know,
yours?
you're right. I should. And why do we need to put that word? Is there another? Can't we just say beat? But if you say beat streaming record, you go. I want to know what the streaming record is, right?
Well, maybe there's
Like-
an article attached to it. There's probably information.
Yeah. Let me read it. Let me see if it's
Yeah.
in there. HBO. Let's see.
Okay, we're reading an
Okay.
article.
All right. The comedian's latest special, Nikki Glaser Someday You'll Die, has generated 2 million cross-platform viewers since it premiered on May 11th, according to the Warner Brothers Discovery. The company also said the special had the best premiere night for an HBO special in more than 2 years. That just slightly outperforms her previous special, Good Clean Filth, which amassed 1.9 across platforms in the same time frame from its own debut. That special was also nominated for a Critics' Choice Award for Best Comedy Special. Do I smell an Emmy coming?
Oh.
Someday You'll Die is currently pacing to have the top streaming audience for any comedy special in the history of Max.
Wow.
Okay, taped in December. Blah blah blah. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it's This is really good for my Emmy.
Let's do it.
I didn't even think about that. Well, I'm winning that Emmy, right? Because I've manifested it already happened, and I have the feeling in my body of which, if I had, if it had already happened, that's how you manifest things. I'm really getting into that. Yeah, like, well, I have it. Well, yes, I've won it. It just hasn't happened in the timeline of my life yet. But you're supposed to feel the feeling. Well, I'll get into it later. We have to go to break. But I'm going to come back and tell you about how to manifest things because I'm working on it. All right, we're back. Manifestation, I've talked about it on the show before. I'm starting to I just buy in so much. My only problem is I don't really know what to visualize. So you're supposed to right before you go to bed, start visualizing the life you want, the thing you want, like a short scene that's about 10 seconds long of what your life looks like after this thing has happened, after this thing you want has happened. So you're in the relationship that you are trying to manifest. You are at the job. You're comfortable. You're at home after you came home from the job. You're in some scene of your life for 10 seconds where this dream has fully realized. So I don't know what I can't focus enough on what I really want. I keep putting myself in an organized, beautiful home, but then I'm in that 10-second frame of being in that perfect, organized, beautiful home that I want, I'm oh, I have to call the guy about the cabinets tomorrow. And then I don't want it. I don't want to run this beautiful, organized home. If I have that stuff, I don't know that I really want it. So sometimes I get nervous about manifesting because I'm okay, if I get that amazing home, I'll have to figure out how to run it. And I don't like that. And so I'm struggling with what to visualize. I guess maybe I could manifest the feeling after I win an Emmy, walking backstage. But that's already done. I already did that one. That one's in the bag. I got to think of the next thing.
Having it on your shelf in your living room.
Well, I know the Emmy's happening. It's then what's another
Emmy
thing
or is
I
it
want?
a Grammy?
Oh, a Grammy. No, I could win an Emmy for the song.
An Emmy for the song?
I'm not ready to win a Grammy yet, so I'm not going to visualize that yet. But I'm going to take my steps.
So what's the Emmy for?
Yeah, I want the Emmy is going to be for my special and for the comedy song.
There's an Emmy
and for a special song. I've submitted my song "Someday You'll Die" for an Emmy to win best song for a series.
Really? Is that
or
a
something,
creative arts Emmy?
For a special. I think it's probably a creative arts Emmy, but
I think you should be aiming for Grammy for best comedy album.
Yeah, that'd be good too.
So,
okay, so I might be able to.
Do you know
okay,
who's
that's a good
won
idea.
The best comedy albums over the last several years?
I would guess Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle.
Okay, so 2024, 2023, 2020, 2019, and 2018 were all won by Dave Chappelle. Can you believe that?
Chappelle.
That's crazy.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I had a feeling he swept. Oh, John Mulaney won. No, that was Emmy. Never mind.
Yeah, so I guess there's an Emmy for comedy special and there's a Grammy for comedy album.
And there's an Emmy for comedy special and a comedy special writing.
Wow, okay. So you have chances here to win.
Yeah, I could
sweep it all. So 2024 Dave Chappelle, 2023 Dave Chappelle, 2022 Louis, 2021 Tiffany Haddish. Didn't even remember that she had one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Tiffany Haddish in 2021 beat out Bill Burr, Jim Gaffigan, Patton Oswalt, and Jerry Seinfeld. Pretty nice.
Good job,
and then Dave Chappelle again, then Dave Chappelle again, then Dave Chappelle again, 3 in a row.
God, can you imagine?
Yeah, then 2017.
He's like Taylor Swifting.
Patton Oswalt, 2017. 2016, Louis C.K. And then 2015, Weird Al. And then 2014, someone we've had on this podcast before won the Grammy for Best Comedy Album.
Who?
Kathy Griffin.
Oh, God, I love her
now
so
here's
much.
a huge surprise.
She's so cool.
2013.
What?
Beating out Tenacious D, Kathy Griffin, Jim Gaffigan, and Louis Black with Best Comedy Album was Jimmy Fallon. Didn't even know he had a comedy album. Blow Your Pants Off, it was called.
That show was fucking kicking by then.
But no, this is for his comedy album, Blow Your Pants Off. The second album.
Oh, like he had one. His second album.
So crazy.
Do you know that I saw him he was my first comedy show I ever saw?
I didn't even know he did stand-up.
Yeah, he did stand-up. He was doing a show at so in high school, my friend's sister, Corey, went to Truman State, which is in Kirksville, I think, Missouri. And we after school, my friends blindfolded me. They didn't really need to do that, but they like were like, "We're taking you on a trip," and it's a surprise because they knew I loved Jimmy Fallon and had a huge crush on him, and so they drove us after school. It was 2000. This would have been 2001 or maybe 2. And no, this is 2002. And we drove to Truman State and we went and we saw Jimmy Fallon show and we were front row. And I was so excited because he's so cute. It was like seeing my first like big celebrity. And during his set, he did ask me, "Are you a freshman?" And I said yes, and I lied because I just was nervous that I was like I didn't want to like explain. I also knew like I didn't want to explain like, no, I'm a senior and I'm coming. Like it's just not. Just give the comedian what he wants.
Yeah.
Yes, and he did it. He asked me about. He's like, when you're a freshman, you live in the dorms. The refrigerators, everything's so small. Everything needs to be small. You have tiny ice cubes, tiny refrigerator. It was really funny. And then he sang like a song to a troll. I remember. But yeah. So that was my first comedy show. What was your first comedy show? Final thought.
But first I want to say something quickly
that
about
you were like
Jimmy
an audience
Fallon.
member.
I was rewatching HBO's Band of Brothers from 2001.
Oh yeah,
I could not believe it. I mean, he's in it for 5 seconds as a guy who's like getting ammo from the front lines, just hands it off, and it's like, is that Jimmy Fallon giving us?
That's like that was before when everyone was just trying to figure out what to fucking do. He was out of SNL at the time, probably between things, just like, am I a movie star? Yeah, I'll be in this Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg.
Unbelievable to think that there was a time when Jimmy Fallon
lines.
was like, I'm not sure where the wind's gonna blow for me.
What's gonna do? What my life's gonna be? Yeah, that is true. He seems like he's been famous for so long. He really is turning into like. A legend of he is.
Well, when
at
you
this
host
point.
the Tonight
There's
Show
no
for that
question
long,
that he
you're
is
just in a rare air.
It's been 20 years, has it?
No, probably not 20.
No, not 20. It's been 15 at least. I think 15. That's incredible. He's really nice, and I like Jimmy Fallon a lot. And he's someone who, man, I admire the way he works and how fast he keeps everything moving. I love him. I did Seth Meyers a couple weeks ago. I love Seth Meyers. So nice. These are just like, they really are like nice people, at least to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel though Jimmy Kimmel just, Seth Meyers is just like you can just tell such a nice person. Jimmy Fallon too. Jimmy Kimmel is like very authentic.
Yeah, I think.
Like he's not gonna kiss your ass.
He's the number one guy I'd most want to be friends with out of all those. Yeah,
he's awesome.
I want an authentic guy.
Like, yeah,
Seth Meyers seems like a really good
would
friend
agree with
too,
that.
based on.
They all are like they would all be there. They would all be awesome to hang out with and be friends with because they are. There's something about a talk show host that is just a certain type of person. But yeah, Jimmy is sarcastic and like doesn't take shit and like won't just give it to you if you don't deserve it, which I really respect. And then Conan, of course, is like
talk shows.
I'm doing his hopefully his podcast again soon.
Talk show hosts are amazing. Yeah, they're all good people.
They're all,
I wish Ellen was my mom.
No, Johnny Carson was a really, really mean guy. Man, I read his biography and it's like kind of disturbing what an asshole he was. Yeah. And all because his mother didn't love him and would never say good job. She was like Bill Belichick was with Tom Brady. Never said fucking good job ever. That is so sad if you have a parent that can't ever give you some fucking credit in your life.
They wouldn't have become Johnny Carson or Tom Brady if they said I love you one time.
Who cares? We don't need it.
I bet.
Someone else would have filled it, would have done something in that slot. Like, we don't need to make children great by emotionally abusing them. But yes, you're right. You're looking at it. It's what's done is done.
Yeah. Hey, it's better than being abused than not being successful.
Yeah, that's true. But the Ellen thing will be interesting how she spins that.
No.
I want answers.
I would love her to just own it. I would love her to come out wearing a full leather suit and being like, I'm a bitch, deal with it. That would be amazing. A heel turn.
I mean, I think she could.
This is the time.
Because but I have a feeling we're going to walk away and we're going to like her so much and everything's going to be okay across the board, which it should be like I'll be interested to see.
Well, we will like
what
her.
That is. But she's one of my favorite comics ever, so I'm just excited to see her do stand-up in any capacity.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting just to see in terms of like legend status watching a stand-up comedian perform. But I do think if she came out and said, I'm a bitch, deal with it, I think we would like her more.
It'd be so cool. It'd be so
My
cool.
first comedy show that I can remember as like an adult or something, I went to the Comedy Attic. It was my first headliner sitting in the audience, and I was in also the front row for some reason, and it was Christian Finnegan.
Oh yeah! Oh my
Christian
God!
Finnegan. I
That's
also
funny.
designed the poster for the show for the weekend, but I was sitting in the front row watching Christian Finnegan. I just remember having like a cathartic experience because it was like, you know, if once you start doing comedy and you're watching it constantly, you start to get jaded and then things are less funny and you don't laugh at the basic jokes anymore. You don't laugh at the tricks.
Yeah, but you definitely did that
night. I was every single thing he did was new and fresh to me, and I was just like,
and he's great anyway.
He's great anyway. He also
comic,
has the same heart condition as me, and I got to talk to him about that.
Yeah. Oh whoa!
He had to get open heart surgery, so I got to talk to him about that, and hopefully I can avoid that. But so I have a soft spot for Christian Finnegan, literally. But his I watched it and I had a cathartic. I was sitting with my girlfriend at the time, I think too, and we were both just like, I can't believe what we just witnessed. It was just like an amazing experience, and I got to imagine that that's how a lot of people feel when they go see comedy shows when they're not a comedian.
Yeah. Yeah, my second show was Dave Chappelle. I took like a bus to downtown Denver from Boulder by myself because none of my friends wanted to go, and I didn't even know who he was. It was 2003. I only knew him from You've Got Mail.
Wow!
And saw that he was performing, and I was like, he was so cute, and You've Got Mail, and so funny. Like I had such a crush on him in that movie that I was like, oh my God, this guy's a comedian. And I started writing jokes. I was like going to try comedy pretty soon. And so I was like, I need to go see comedy shows. And so that one was coming up, and I was like, oh, I know that guy. And Chappelle's show hadn't come out yet. And so I took a bus, and I was the only white person there.
Wow. How things have changed.
Yeah.
Now it'd be half and half.
Yeah. But it was like
Man.
not. I remember people were dancing on stage. I mean, it was not a typical comedy show. It was a Dave Chappelle.
You see, if you're a comedy
show.
fan and you have an angle on a comedian that you think's going to be huge, go see them now when they're still doing clubs, because it's an experience that you will not be able to get until they're on the way down
when
and they're like 65 and no one cares anymore, and they're on their way down. Then you can maybe catch them in clubs again, but they're not going to be the same. Catch them now before they blow up.
Catch me now on the road, because my ticket prices are going to go up, and this tour has already been announced, and like the venues are set. So these are venues from before the roast, you guys. So these are like, you can see me in more intimate spaces than I think we're going to start seeing.
You got to stop in
pretty
at
soon.
a club every once in a while. And not just doing the store or something. You got to do a weekend at a club every once in a while. You get a different read on your jokes. You get a different feel.
Yeah, well, that's where I'll definitely always go to try out specials and work on the next thing.
Is where?
And I think that's is clubs. Like when we went out to Brea, that was so fun. And it was just like nice to have a weekend where we just wrote during the day, performed at night.
Don't have to travel
all
every
in
day.
One place. We weren't traveling all weekend. Yeah, it was awesome.
Breezy hotel. That was I still think about
that was
that
such
hotel
a breezy hotel.
Of the breeze. It's not like Brea is a beachfront.
There was a beautiful breeze going through.
It's just.
It was nice. I'd do it again for sure. Well, I have a lot of dates coming up this weekend. Going to be in Salt Lake City Friday night, and then Boulder Saturday. 2 shows at the Boulder Theater, which is so exciting because that's the first town I ever performed stand-up comedy in. And I haven't been back to perform since. And it's where the JonBenet Ramsey thing happened. Anyway, and then the following week it's going to be Indianapolis and Cleveland, and then a bunch of more dates coming up. You can check it all out at nikkiglaser.com. And yeah, thanks for being a bestie. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I hope you have a good weekend. Next time you hear me, I'll be 40.
Well, no,
yes.
You're 40
Yeah, that's
now.
true. Because we recorded this episode before my birthday. And my birthday is this weekend, and we'll have a recap of my birthday tomorrow. So when I said yesterday's show before, just know that I thought this was happening the week before.
Yeah.
And what I do mean is that on tomorrow's show, you will hear a recap of my birthday. Hopefully, if I remember to do it next week when we record it. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Don't be cool. Bye.